Hey, what's up y'all? House DM here. Today's video is going to be a little different than my usual crafting videos because I want to chat with you about this wonderful concept that we all refer to as the grid. There should be special effects and an echo, but there isn't, so bees. So my first session as a dungeon master, I used the grid primarily because the first time I ever played the game at my local game store, my DM there set the game up with a grid. And I realized that people use the grid because it's familiar. It has that sort of board game aesthetic. Aside from that, it's also what I saw all the other DMs doing. So I kind of just took that as a standard that that's how you're supposed to play Dungeons and Dragons. But wait, House DM, what's the grid? For those of us in the back who don't know. The grid, as seen here, I'll probably get a picture and put it in this spot. It's basically a pattern of 1 inch by 1 inch squares, typically used to denote character movement for players and monster miniatures during a typical encounter. So each square represents 5 feet of movement, and most characters can move about 6 squares or 30 feet of movement. There's some variance there, but it's pretty easy to just count the square as you move. So it wasn't until after my first 40k skirmish that I definitely didn't win and absolutely got murdered by my best friend that I truly understood the elegance of using a gridless system. Wargamers, right? I just want to clarify really quickly, this is by no means the only way to play D&D and have a battle encounter. You can totally use the grid. However, I would recommend most DMs who are starting run a combat encounter without either. Don't use a grid, don't use gridless, just use theater of the mind. You'll be surprised. It actually works out pretty dang well. And there's only a few minor instances where you'll be like, where am I standing? Where's the monster? Which way is up and down? I don't know, tell me which way. That was weird. Anyways, this is just my opinion and I thought I would share how I like to play the game. So on that note, let me show you some of my setups. So the top pros for using a grid. You can basically get a grid just about anywhere. These are a bunch of chess, that's actually not a Chess X battle mat, it's a yoga mat. These are great. This was my first grid mat that I ever used. It actually erased pretty well and pretty decently, but it was definitely a pain in the butt to get all your marker marks off of it afterwards. And then this is a newer one that I upgraded to that I actually don't really use that much. Both of those are pretty awesome options. You have a lot of resources at your disposal for grids everywhere. The second thing that makes the grid pretty awesome is it's familiar to players. Chess, Candyland, Monopoly, Solar Quest, Catan. No, not Catan. Catan's like hexes. Yeah, I wouldn't say Catan's a grid. It's definitely not a grid. Anyways, all those options are pretty fluidly using a grid in some way to denote spaces and movement. They have spaces. I guess Monopoly is not really a grid. A grid is. So the top cons for using the grid is moving diagonally is weird. Typically on a grid, you have to like move up a space and then sideways, whatever direction you go to get diagonally. Or if you move diagonally, it counts as 10 feet. That's not really the case when you play Gridless. You can just move in any direction you choose and just count, you know, on a measuring tape. And the other con I would say for using the grid is I don't like to draw the lines on my terrain. I think it looks weird. I think having grass and stone and dirt have that checker pattern grid in it, I don't like how it looks. Unless it's like dungeon tiles, in which case they kind of naturally have a grid. That's the one exception where I'm like, okay. There's no grids in grass unless you're, you know, I don't know where there's gridded grass. Top pros for going fully gridless is visually, it just looks a lot more compelling for your players. It just looks really good when you craft a piece that doesn't have those grid lines in it anywhere. Also, the freeform ability for your players to kind of just measure with a measuring tape where their character is going to move and figure out the strategy of how their battle encounter is going to go, at least for my campaign, that's a really fun aspect of the game that my players really enjoy. Also, if you're making your own terrain battle mats, you can use that $5, I think it's it's like $5 or $6, the pink square projects from your local hardware store. And that is basically a pretty sizable battlefield, and you could paint that and texture it however you want for pretty cheap. One of these battle mats, this is like 45 bucks. And the smaller one, this one, that's only, I don't know, what is that, 2 feet by 2 feet? This is like 20 bucks for this thing. That's 4 of those foam panels that you can kind of get any pattern or texture you want, and a little bit of craft paint for pretty cheap too. So I'm gonna show you some quick examples of the gridless kind of terrain that I'm using. This is made from that pink foam. It is literally just grass and dirt sponge painted onto a piece of pink foam. And you turn around and you got a cave tile, which is pretty cool. And that's one pink foam board. The second one here, I made kind of like a brown dirt scape, so to speak. And on the backside, it's white, like snow. And I actually like how the snow pattern has kind of turned out. I've definitely used this when I'm playing Frostgrave as well. And it worked pretty good. Almost killed some players with the Remorage. It was really fun. Well, this is what it looks like when you buy it from the store. It's pretty boring. It's just that pink foam. If you're one of those people that hates the sound of foam, this is probably not a good option for you, because I can't do that to you. But anyways, those gridless tiles are pretty awesome. They just take up some space. I mean, they're pretty thin, but they're big. It is a bit more of a challenge to store something like that versus a small rolled up mat that you could just slide basically anywhere. So there are some cons to going gridless. The biggest con is if you don't have access to that pink foam to make your own kind of play style, it's hard to find mats that just don't have a grid. A lot of the wargaming mats that I've looked at that I kind of want to get for my table because they look really cool. Deep Cut Studios, checking you guys out. You're all the way in Lithuania, but I like your stuff the best. Those mats look great. There's like those mousepad neoprene ones, and for those of you who play Magic the Gathering and have a play mat, you know what I'm talking about. Those neoprene mats, definitely the way to go. The downside is they're expensive. You can get some pretty amazing prints of grass terrain, cave terrain, river terrains, dirt, desert, snow. All of those are awesome, but they cost money. And just using the pink foam is the cheaper way to go. And the last thing, of course, is there's a slight learning curve. If your players are not used to using a tape measure and measuring how far they can move, it can take a little bit of time to get used to. But I'm confident that you, as an awesome dungeon master, will get your players on board and they'll be super stoked to jump into gridless D&D play. At the end of the day, you honestly can play D&D any way you like. As a crafting DM, it's really important to me that I have a fun game session for my players. I want them to see the terrain when I bring the battle mat out and be like, whoa, that's so cool. Like, wow, awesome, and have fun with it. Removing the drawing of the grid lines from my terrain crafting has sped up a lot of my crafting time, so I'm gonna stick with not using them. Now, before we get to the story, I just want to remind you that casting Bless and targeting the like button really helps me level up my channel. So thank you for doing that. And also don't forget to hit that subscribe button as well as ringing that little bell notification icon thingy. And that way you know when I post new videos like this in the future. Now, with all my shameless plugs out of the way, let's get to that story. The Dragonborn fighter, Ragnar, and their traveling companion, Sol, have been wandering the Khazadorian Badlands for over a week. Do you think it likely we will die out here, Ragnar? I'm running low on rations. The Dragonborn stopped, looked at Sol, and then looked around as though seeing something from a distance. "We need to move, now!" Just then, 2 arrows shattered against the Dragonborn's metallic shield. Sol moved in to defend Ragnar's flank. A warband of orcs caught their scent on the trail. Ragnar took a deep breath, and then exhaled a roar charged with electrical energy. These orcs messed with the wrong travelers. Oh hey, you're back! Well, there it is. Thank you for watching, first of all. I hope you enjoyed this video and maybe got some inspiration to build your own gridless terrain at home. Don't forget to follow the old Instagram and see some cool content in your scrolly brick box thingy. And you can go there and like all my stuff. And once again, I'm House DM. Thanks for watching. Some people hate that sound. It's just like...